Media stories about missing children are intriguing and equally heartbreaking. The very details that we share about a child when they go missing can end up coming into direct conflict with their privacy concerns. What happens at Missing Child Kenya is when we share an alert that a child is missing, there are important details that we have to list. Their name, what they looked like, what they were wearing, if there's any special markers, any circumstances surrounding their going missing. But once they are found, they now get to a point where we need to maintain their privacy. A lot of the members of the public who helped us when we were looking for these children asked us, where are these children? What happened to this child when they were found? In November 2020, 7 girls went missing from Kayole within Nairobi. We were at a frenzy trying to look for them all over because it was at the height of the COVID pandemic. A lot of questions ran through people's minds when they were looking for these girls. The media stories that are shared when a child goes missing can end up sometimes being in direct conflict with their privacy. This is because at the point that the child is missing, there's some reason or some details that are important to be shared then. But by the time they are found, they now retain their right to privacy, and some of these reasons need to be kept private. This is the reason why when we look at alerts at Missing Child Kenya, an alert for a missing child will clearly state a lot of circumstances and details around the child. But once the child is found, we will only state that this child has been found. Thank you for your efforts and continue assisting us in finding other children. This brings a lot of conflict with the very public that helped us to find these children because they were so bought into the story and the narrative and the emotions that led them to distribute the alert before. But then they feel a certain aloofness once we find this child because now suddenly we are holding these details to ourselves and we are not sharing. This is the reason why today I want to just talk about a little bit on the concerns of privacy of the families of missing children. A child has the right to their privacy, and this right to their privacy can only be broken in circumstances that they are in danger. And number one, when they are missing, of course, they're in danger, and so their right to the privacy is revoked. Once they are found, they retain their right to privacy. A good example is now these girls of Kayole who went missing. When they went missing, a lot of details were shared. That was in November. And it started with a video of their cousin, a cousin to one of the girls, who shared a video and said, my cousin is missing, please help me find her. And soon after, other people started sharing, this girl was with other girls. And so a story started rotating around that. Once people shared, they were found and they gave a statement. One of the girls gave a statement and said, we were bored. The events that followed much later were really hectic and they ended up affecting these girls and their families to date. Number two, they were trolled online, especially when a teenage girl goes missing. You find comments, people say she has gone to be with a boyfriend or they have gone to get married. So they were profiled negatively in a lot of ways. There was an unnecessary spotlight around their families. People went deeper into stories about how is the mother of this child, how is the father, how is the circumstance, are they well brought up, are they of good faith or good upstanding children, unnecessary matters getting into their family details. Another thing, profiling of their neighborhoods and the schools that they went to. People went as far as asking the school that this girl attends or this girl number 2 attends, what kind of discipline do they have? Are these schools that we want our children to attend? So all these circumstances ended up giving these children a lot of stress, psychosocial stress, because they felt really profiled unnecessarily without us getting into the deeper reason as to why they went missing. In retrospect, these are some of the things that we need to be cognizant when we look back at the case of these children. Number one, children make mistakes. Who has never made a mistake when they were in their teens? Of course, the magnitude of the mistakes vary, but then there's a point of correction so that they grow up to be better adults. So we should have first taken the fact that these children have made a mistake before we move on to castigate them. We should have looked at alternative methods of correcting them. Another thing, year 2020 was difficult for everybody. 2020 was the start of the COVID pandemic. These children, remember, they had been with they had been indoors for quite a long time. They had not gone to school. They had not been seeing their friends. There was stress within our families, ourselves, our workplaces. So if you look at the kind of pressure that they were facing, the mental health concerns that they had, these are some of the things that we need to have also looked at while looking at how to report this matter back then, because everybody was going through a rough time at that point. It doesn't excuse some of the iniquities that they did, but again, they were going through also a rough time mentally. The third thing to note is the importance of records when it comes to children. There's a principle called best interest of the child. This means do no harm. Whatever you do in the life of your child or a child that you are in care of, even when you are having extended care, like reporting about a child or interacting with a child, you should practice the principle of do no harm. What do we mean? This has gone into these children's lives as an indelible record. It cannot be deleted. It is online, it is on the social media, it is on the internet, and this is a digital footprint that is now permanent. How does this affect children? If now in the future we are looking at simple things like embassies asking for social media records or online records before visa appointments, scholarship applications, we are looking at job opportunities, or even maybe if we get to a point where we are looking at relocating to different communities, they will look back at this and castigate these children without having understood the reason why everything happened. Records of children, whether criminal or otherwise, are supposed to be expunged based on the best interest of the child principle. This means that if a child has committed a crime of whatever magnitude, there are some limited magnitudes of crime that cannot be expunged. But by expunging, it means that this child at age 18, this record will be kept private. It will not be shared with the public or distributed elsewhere. And this gives these children an opportunity to recorrect themselves as citizens and live better lives, learning from their mistakes. So it's important to note that whatever we put out in the image or in the stories about children go on permanent record. And if it's not expungible, then we have affected them in ways for opportunities in the future that they will miss out just because there was a childhood mistake. And remember, I started by saying no one has a perfect record. We all did mistakes when we were children. There's a lot that goes on in the family of a missing child, and it is very hard to determine when they healed from the procedure, so that you say, now you guys have healed, can we tell your story? We cannot do that. We cannot measure the impact of someone's agony when it starts and when it ends. And so this is something that is a call to the public. We appreciate the fact that every story that we put out, you help us share it. But we now sadly cannot put out private information, but we want you to continue helping us. And in educating one another, we can be able to know how we can better protect our children. One of the simpler ways of us sharing this information without making it subjective is we do small reports and small posters and information manuals that share, that say, in this area, this is a hotspot. Maybe in this month, this many children went missing because of this reason. So these small reasons can help us understand the reasons, the concerns, the hot areas, the areas to focus on, and how to help these communities. That way we'll still keep helping each other, and we'll be also able to protect the privacy of these children and their families, because at the end of the day, we want everyone to live with dignity, not just subjected to a circumstance that happened once in their lives. So thank you for continuing to share the alerts. Please continue interacting with us and learning more on the different areas and the different reasons that we will give, but we shall not give subjected reasons that highlight specific children.